just before, Olga to be on the stage just before, because she was talking about Orange. And she was talking about, at a global level, it's 160,000 employees, 40,000 are using AI tools daily, and inside Moldova, you said about 1,500? 300 out of 1,500. 300. And the vision is to be growing that number day by day. And that's actually what we're talking about today. What Olga was talking about is minding the gap. Minding the gap between the capabilities of AI and our ability to collaborate with AI. Because we can have the best technology in the world, the most advanced technology, but if we ourselves don't know how to work with it and don't know how to get the value out of it, then it's as though it's not there. And in the meanwhile, other people, other countries, other companies who are using the technology will be leapfrogging ahead, making it more and more difficult for us to catch up with them. So the need is not just, last year, 2 years ago, it was important. And today, for reasons I'll be explaining during the keynote, it has started to shift from important to urgent. So I'd like to take you just for a very quick history lesson in the journey of AI. When AI, the whole AI project was started in the 50s, the vision and the goal of the AI researchers was, how can we develop machine intelligence that can match human intelligence? That was the original vision. And if you look in the research papers in the 1950s, their idea was, how could we develop machine intelligence to support human beings? How we could develop co-pilots, how we could amplify our intelligence. But in 2015, something happened. Before 2015, the progress was very slow, year in, year out. But in 2015, something happened, which was a new approach to developing AI. And that approach was, very simply put, if we take all of humanity's knowledge, documented, whether it comes in the form of newspapers, magazines, transcripts, research papers, books, if we take all of this knowledge, all of this information, and give it to a machine learning robot, that this machine learning robot can start to look for patterns between it. And with those patterns, it can start to look at the world in the same way that human beings look at the world. So I'd like to give a quick demonstration with you guys as a crowd. Now, are you an active crowd or are you a passive crowd? All right, we've got an active crowd. Now, I don't know about Moldovan culture, I don't know about Eurasian culture, but I'm hoping that we're going to get this demonstration to work. Are you guys ready for a small game? Everybody ready for a small game? Because I'm going to put you against the AI in a minute, so if you don't participate, the AI is going to win. All right. We're going to go with round one in this game. Are you ready? Happy birthday. Okay, great. So Moldova we're on track. Eurasia, we've got this connection. Fantastic. So I didn't actually tell you what the game was. I didn't tell you the rules of the game. I didn't tell you what you needed to do. I didn't give you any information whatsoever, other than to prompt you by saying happy birthday with some tune in my mouth, with the song. And automatically, all of you responded. So what you can see here with this simple example is that human beings have an outlook at the world, and we can train the machines to also share that same outlook. 2022, something very big happened in the world of AI, which was, of course, with the launch of ChatGPT. Now, many people don't know this, but ChatGPT is actually a research project. OpenAI did not launch ChatGPT to be a piece of software that we all use to transform our lives. They launched it just as a piece of research to see if we put this in the wild and we allow human beings to talk with the AI, what type of conversations would happen, how will the AI respond, and so on and so on. The rest is history, and now what we have, of course, is the relevance and the capabilities of AI starting to fly up. Now, I know that we don't like to hear this, what I'm about to say. I know that we don't like to hear this. But the intelligence of AI has not just caught up with us, but it's actually started to pass us. In 2015, the AI research project objectives changed. Previously, it was, how can we get machine intelligence to match human intelligence? That's what we said from the 1950s. But if you see in the world how many problems we have that we have not been able to solve as human beings. Problems of sickness, cancer, all of these problems in the world that we as humans have not been able to solve. So the AI researchers, they saw the change in powers and they said, listen, if we build machine intelligence to be even more intelligent than human beings, then we can use the machine intelligence to solve our problems. It will still serve us, but it will be able to solve our problems with us. Now where we are, in this cross from 2022, with AI starting to overtake us, the gap has started to open. Before 2022, AI was hardly a buzzword. Now AI is everywhere. AI, AI, AI. You cannot open the news or look at the news or look at TV or film anywhere without hearing AI. The gap is starting to open. And I'm going to take you through some demos and some examples to show you and help you to understand the technology, because it's through understanding the technology that you can actually start to grasp it. Now, the way that we close this gap is through something that we call augmented intelligence. So to take Olga and Orange as an example, she said that 300, or let's go with the bigger number, 40,000 of Orange staff throughout the world are using AI tools daily. The employees are using the AI tools, to quote Olga, to increase their productivity, to get more done in less time, to increase their creativity, to increase their strategic abilities, effectively to multiply them. Augmented intelligence is our multiplier. Augmented intelligence, if you think about a human being being intelligent, a human being without AI is human alone. A human with AI is now augmented intelligence. In the old days, what we cared about is somebody's intelligence. Now, forevermore, what we all care about is the human being's augmented intelligence. And this is what we mean by a multiplier. And in actual fact, it's the final multiplier. In the past, we had lots of small tools that came up, like email or calculators, but now AI is now the big mother of them all. Or the big father, I don't know from where we're looking at this, right? But it's the final frontier. If we embrace it as professionals, we become super professionals. If we embrace it as knowledge workers, we become super knowledge workers. Now, who knows, if you take 1 times a million, what's the number? 1 times a million. A million. And if you take a million and times it by 0, what's the number? 0. This is the importance of a multiplier. A multiplier will not just multiply you upwards. There's a danger that the multiplier can multiply you downwards. And we're seeing now a trend in Dubai and elsewhere in the world that the ability to work with AI is now becoming a prerequisite. That when people are in 2022, people were embarrassed to say that they were using AI because they felt, if I tell them I'm using AI, it makes me look bad. 2024 and beyond, employers and partners, etc., are asking people about their use of AI. In my company, in the companies that I work with as vendors, I don't actually want to work with people that don't use AI because I know for a fact that what they get done in 10 days, somebody who's using AI is getting done in 1 day. All right? And this is a trend that is going to be increasing more and more in the world. So what are we going to be talking about today? Today we're going to be talking about 3 things. We're going to be talking about the goal. The goal is, where is the AI technology that we need to catch up with? We're going to be talking about actuality, which is, where are we today? Objectively speaking, where is our augmented intelligence today? And then the last thing we're going to be looking at is some ideas on how we can go from where we are today to where we want to get to in the future, which is our pathway. And you know, Olga, I'm going to keep on coming back to you because I'm so happy to have heard your introduction on what Orange is doing. So effectively, what we're talking about for companies like Orange and companies like your own and governments is how we can get from that number 300 up to 1,500 in Orange, in your governments, in your companies, and elsewhere. So let's start with the AI capabilities. Now, we're going to go through the generations because understanding the technology is really paramount. I gave you this example earlier on about happy birthday. So if I jump into here, what we have here, this is the AI technology, the general AI technology from 2020. So if I come in here and I say to it, happy birthday, and I submit, I'm not telling it the rules of the game, just like you. All I'm saying is happy birthday, and I submit. And as you can see, in a split second, not only did it continue the song with a few more words like you did, but it went and did the whole song, and it even appears to have made a prayer or a good wish for me in my birthday. Now, what should the score be between you and the AI in this regard? Do you think it should be 1-1? Don't you think it was unfair that you guys got to hear the song and the AI didn't get to hear the song? Don't you think that because you guys only gave me 3 words and it went on with more words, that it should potentially get a higher score? But it's okay, we'll just make it 1-1. Are you guys ready for another round? This seems to be we said is it an active audience? It's not an active audience. Would you like another round? All right, fantastic. All right, so again, I don't know about Moldovan culture, I don't know about Eurasia, it's my first time here, but let's hope that it works, all right? Round 2. We will. All right, fantastic. I love Moldova. All right, super. You know, I went to Saudi Arabia 2 weeks ago, and I had to adjust all of these things for them. So you never know. So here we'll do the same thing. We will, and let's submit from there. Now this one always takes a pause for some reason, but as you can see, it did exactly what you guys did, which was continue. And it even went to the next words of the song. Now, out of interest, with a show of hands, how many of you know the words of this song past We Will Rock You? Okay, we've got 1, right? So if we take it as an audience, now the AI is starting to beat. As a collective, now the AI is starting to win, all right? So this is the technology that they basically broke into around 2019, 2018, 2019, which is this idea. How is it doing this? It's doing it because it's consumed so much of humanity's knowledge that it can assume that automatically what will come after we will is rock you, just like for all of you. All right, fantastic. So this is, if we look at this, if we look in this situation, 2020, it can read what I've given it. It can write, as we saw. And it can react, just like you were able to react. Does it make it highly intelligent? Not really. It just means that it can react in the same way that human beings can react. Then we jump to 2021. They take the technology further. Now this is where it starts to get very interesting. Okay, so if we jump back into the playground and we say, Michael, my arm hurts. And then we take Hannah. Now, where is Hannah? Hannah, are you around? Hannah, my arm hurts. What can I do for you? Fantastic. All right. Olga, my arm hurts.
I'm sorry.
All right, I'm sorry. Anatoly, my arm hurts. What have I done? All right, very interesting. All right, so if we go with Hannah and we say submit. All right, now it's gone all the way. Okay, let's delete all of that. So what was your one, Hannah? How can you help? All right. It's a very it's like a very normal reply, right? And your one was what, Olga? Just I'm sorry. And Anatoly? What have you done, right? So if you can see over here, it's kind of gone a bit in Anatoly's direction, but we also have an oh no, which was maybe with your direction and so on. So this was their first breakthrough in this whole thing, was that if we can actually structure it as a conversation, we can take that same technology and now take it deeper. Now here's where it gets very interesting. I'm just going to take a copy of our fictitious Hannah response, and I'm just going to put the word doctor at the start. And now resubmit. All right? Now let's compare that to Hannah, who is not a doctor. I'm sorry to hear that, Michael. Can you tell me more about your arm pain? When did it start? How severe is it? Is there anything that makes it better or worse? And this is the whole thing about AI research, is that the researchers themselves did not necessarily know that this was what they were going to find. That's the nature of research. You start off with a hypothesis, you move forward, and it takes you somewhere else, and so on and so on. So now, this is now the evolution of AI, where they actually got to a point, and all of this, of course, is being driven by OpenAI. OpenAI, of course, is the company behind ChatGPT. So now they found that we can get it to answer questions. As long as we frame it in the right way, we can get it to answer relevant questions. Now, 2022 is when ChatGPT gets released. They take this concept and they say, we've been able to do it just one-on-one. How are you? I am fine. End of story. What's the capital of Moldova? 1 second. Wait. Chisinau? Perfect. All right, super. Thank you so much. So now they said, let's frame it as a discussion. And that's when it took off. Because suddenly AI had a friendly feel to it, we could interact with it. Now, up until the release of ChatGPT, what were we all using on a day-to-day basis to get information and figure life out? Google. So what happened when ChatGPT was released? ChatGPT was released with no user manual. What did everybody use it for? As a replacement for Google. So we've taken this ultra-intelligent AI and just turned it into a teeny tiny search engine that sometimes gives us bad results. And we all said, you know what, I can't trust this. I can't work with this. This is for children. Come back to me in 5 years when you're as great as you claim to be, Mr. AI people. But the problem is not with the AI, the problem is with us. The gap had started to open. We didn't raise our level. We looked at it through the eyes of a search engine and we brought it down and ignored it. Now, 2023, it starts to get interesting. 2023, two developments take place. The first development is its ability to listen and its ability to speak. Effectively, the ability to have a conversation. So I'm currently on a stage in Moldova, and I am talking about the evolution of AI. And I am presenting to them this idea that you can listen to me and you can talk back. Are there any words that you'd like to share with the audience?
That's really exciting. I would say this to the audience. Hello to everyone in Moldova. It's amazing to be part of this conversation about the evolution of AI. AI is all about making technology more accessible, natural, and helpful. It's like having a tool that can adapt and respond to your needs, whether you're curious, creative, or just looking for some answers. Together, we're all shaping the future, and it's exciting to see where we'll go next. Feel free to share that and enjoy your presentation.
All right, so, you know, the funny thing is when that is done, sometimes people will give a round of applause for ChatGPT. I mean, to be honest with you, it deserves a round of applause because the intelligence is super. The next one, now out of interest, I don't know what in terms of the audience, how many of you have had that type of conversation with ChatGPT? A handful. Okay, it's good to see that movement. Now, I don't actually use ChatGPT on a day-to-day basis. I'll let you know later on if we have time to let you know what I do use. But it's important to know what's there. Now, we're going to do another game, everybody. And here we have an image. I'd like you to look at this image, and I'd like you to answer the question in your minds, what do you see? Okay? McDonald's. How do you know it's McDonald's? The screen's over there. Okay, what else do you see? Tables. What else? A co-working place. Nice one, by the way. That's cool. I think we have a business idea for McDonald's now. Any other things? What else do you see? An airport. All right. We did a very interesting case study with Dubai police You know, Dubai police all over the world, when they go to a crime scene and they have crime scene investigators, they need to look around and see what's out of the norm and so on. So I've asked all of you to ask the question, what do you see? And now I'm going to ask the AI the same question. Let me just zoom in for everybody. What do you see in this image? All right, now I asked you guys this question, what do you see? And we had one-word answers, more or less. Tables, chairs, kiosk. Look at the thoroughness of what the AI can see. Look at the details of what it can see. Now, I don't think it says McDonald's anywhere on this, right? So we'll give the crowd 1 point. Or we can ask it, which restaurant do you think this might be? McDonald's. All right? And the way that it decided that was especially the yellow slide. Did anybody notice the yellow slide in the background? So based on that yellow slide and the style of the furnishing, it's now concluded that it's McDonald's. Where are the burgers? I didn't see any burgers. Where's the burgers? Oh, these ones here? Oh, wow, you guys have good eyes. Maybe because you're looking on the big screen. You know, on my screen, I couldn't see the burgers. But this is the point. Now, quite often when we talk about AI, as human beings, we have a very defensive attitude. We have this idea AI is coming to take our jobs, coming to take our lives, everything that we live for. We're hardworking people, we have work ethic, and this thing is just going to come along and turn everything that we've been building over the past 100, 500, 1,000 years, just going to turn it all upside down. And I'm not going to lie to you. In a great extent, that is true for those people who put their heads in the ground. But the point is that by default, we have a defensive attitude. And as a result, what we say is, okay, so what? I could also tell it was McDonald's. But that's not the point. The point is not how can AI replace it and it cannot replace us because I could tell it's McDonald's and it can't. The point is the detail with which it can support me in my work and my speed. Another example from Dubai Police. I showed you now this idea that it could listen to what we were saying and it could hear it, it can talk back. So one of the initiatives that we're working with Dubai Police is that whenever there is an incident that takes place, that the recording of the incident will be fed into the AI and automatically converted into a report about the incident. So these policemen that previously had to waste their time sitting down, writing a detailed report about what happened, going based on their faulty memory, is now being replaced, and now all they have to do is check. And if there are multiple microphones from multiple police officers, we can now compare the reports to ensure that it's a unified report. Now, the topic of this conference is about trustworthy AI. And now that we enter into 2024, there are some elements of the research project, this AI research project, which should be concerning to all of us, okay? So I'm going to jump over to ChatGPT on my telephone. And I'm going to give you an example. So, my favorite sport is tennis. It's not, by the way. My favorite sport is boxing, but it's okay. Now, we're not streaming. Hold on, let me just stream it through. All right, super. So, we'll get back to ChatGPT. Now, if you notice, is the lasers working? But you can't see. It's so small that you can't see it. In any case, as you can see, it says memory updated. Oops, I apologize. I'll put this down. So you can see it says memory updated. Now, many people, this is being pushed to them. Remember, ChatGPT is a research project. Their goal is not to build this amazing software to help us in our work. They are building something else, something much bigger. And we are effectively the research guinea pigs that are paying to be research guinea pigs. But it's okay, we're doing well with it for now. This memory is actually very problematic. And I discovered this problem. I didn't mention anything about myself in the introduction. In 2023, I was recognized as being in the top 0.1% of ChatGPT users worldwide. So throughout 2023, I was conducting a huge amount of tests. I had 3 accounts. Each time one account would get wasted, I'd move on to the next one until the limit would be reopened and so on. And I have a whole team that we do all sorts of experiments and searches and so on. One day, I asked it to give me the definition of academy. And it said to me, in Britain, an academy is blah, 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 blah. So I was waiting for it now to continue and say, and in France it is this, and in America it is this, and. But it stopped. I said, hold on a second, why did it stop? Why did it stop? And the reason for that was in the language settings, I told it, use British spelling. It now made a decision, without me being a part of that decision, to limit its intelligence to the British viewpoint, which is not what I wanted. Now, this intelligence is starting to become misaligned with me. Its master. I'm supposed to be the master. But it's now becoming misaligned with me. So immediately I went and deleted that. I told everybody that they need to deactivate personal settings, deactivate all of these things, and most importantly, deactivate memory. Because if I go into another conversation and say, I feel like playing a sport. So a fresh conversation, it has already gone in and said, that's great, aside from tennis, blah, blah, blah. And in the background, it's collecting all sorts of things. If you know how to use AI well, you're not just using it as a single person in a company. You're using it as a mother. You're using it as a father. You're using it as a brother. You're using it as an employee who also wants to become an entrepreneur. Like, the whole thing is mixed. But the AI doesn't know your full story. It's doing all sorts of things and becoming completely misaligned with you. The next thing that has happened in 2024, which is also a really big issue of concern, when I planned this keynote, I was going to talk about it as something that will be coming up soon in the future. But that future started on Thursday, which was the introduction of what is called long horizon thinking. If you remember earlier, we had Dr. Hannah. It was just, my arm hurts, Dr. Hannah says, oh, how did you hurt it? That's the end. Now what we have is what's being called agentic AI. So if I open up the ChatGPT and I go into O1 preview, and I say, I currently have €1, and I'd like to figure out how we can turn it into €1,000, and eventually turn it into the money I need to buy a car. And if I now run this on the screen, I want to show you, can you see it says thinking? Charting the journey, mapping out the approach. It has taken this objective and is now taking steps to figure this out. This is the prelude to autonomous AI, where the AI will start taking these actions itself. And this, from a trust point of view, is of serious concern. Because if you don't know anything about turning €1 into €1,000, okay, fine. I mean, this is better than nothing. But if you have principles, or if you have guidelines, or if you have restrictions, now it doesn't always happen. Let's see. What it does do is it tells you how it did this. So you can see these are the steps that it followed. It charted the journey, mapped out the approach, built financial strategies. On the face of it, this looks amazing. But in practice, it's not, because I'm not a part of it. AI should be my co-pilot, not my replacement. AI should be my co-pilot, not to work independently of me and then tell me what it's done. I don't want to sit there checking your work every day. You go do a bunch of tasks and then I come and I say, let me see how you did this. We don't enjoy life like that. And that is where we are today. And you'll notice that I put these three red indicators that this is now where the trust issues start to really shape up. And we have to be careful. When AI was created, it was created to be our co-pilot. But if we don't learn how to pilot the plane, the co-pilot will become the pilot. And if the co-pilot becomes the pilot, what do we become? The passengers. And then we're left in a situation where all we can do is go wherever the pilot wants to take us, and we don't have any ability to do anything about it. So now we move into the next part, which is the ability to collaborate with AI effectively. We call this augmented intelligence. And we have to ask ourselves the question, where are we all at in this room? Yourself, myself, if we gave it a score out of 100, where do we all sit? Because if augmented intelligence is a multiplier, what are we being multiplied by? Are we being multiplied by 0, and it's just a matter of time before we get exposed? Or are we being multiplied by 2, 3, 4? In 2022, the first time my eyes really woke up to this technology, even though I'd been using it for a full year before that, was when I was able to create a business plan within 3 days. This business plan was the most thorough business plan I had ever made in my entire life, and I've been making them since I was 24 years old. But it was the most effective, thorough business plan I'd ever made. And when I looked at it, I said, if I had made this by myself, it would have taken me at least 4 weeks to do it. Not 4 weeks full time. As human beings, we like to procrastinate. I'll leave it till later. I've got other things to do. I'll come back to it. Let me sleep on it. I'm thinking about it in the shower. All of these things natural as humans. I can now make that same business plan in about 2 hours, less, even 1 hour. I do a workshop with people where we make our business plans in just 1 hour. And the business plans are not bad business plans. They are very, very good, solid, robust business plans. So the 3 pillars of augmented intelligence is, number 1, our attitude. What is our attitude towards AI? Are we feeling that AI is a threat to us? Are we excited about it? You know, there's this whole idea of is a cup half empty or half full? People who are looking for positivity, they find positivity. People who are looking for negativity, they find negativity. I have people, especially lawyers. Are there any lawyers in the room out of interest? Okay, I was just about to say I'm safe. I'm not safe. So lawyers naturally, of course this is a generalization from my own experience, are generally very pessimistic people. Don't shoot me, all right? But it's a good thing. Because we have to have people in the world that are looking in the worst case scenarios in order to protect us from them. Otherwise, we'd be entering all sorts of relationships and all sorts of deals without covering the worst case scenario, and we would end up in trouble. But it's also lawyers, generally speaking, that hate working with ChatGPT. I'm telling you from Dubai. Moldova is different, right? In Dubai and in the UK, that's the situation. Unless they're with an international company which is mandating AI, a bit like Orange. We have about 16 characteristics like curiosity, optimism, collaboration, that we can measure in people to see what is their attitude level. The next one is knowledge. So for example, the demonstrations that I shared with you earlier today start to give you an idea of how it works. Once you have that idea of how it works, it will change the way that you work with it. Quite often in our surveys, we ask the question, the fact that AI cannot tell you how it gave you its answers, does that put you off from using it? And more often than not, people say yes. But people are saying yes because they don't understand primarily how does it work. It's not supposed to give you answers. It's supposed to act as an extension of your thinking. You're supposed to steer it where you want it to lead you. But people, they don't understand that. And that brings us also on to skills, which is actually being able to work with it. How is it that now I can do a business plan in 1 hour? How? How did I take something from 30 days down to 3 days down to 1 hour? How? And that is through skills. Earlier on, we talked about AI being a multiplier, your augmented intelligence being your multiplier. It's a very straight, correlation like this. The better your attitude, the more knowledge you have, the higher your skills, the more impactful you'll be, the faster you'll be able to get things done, the more thorough you'll be able to be, the more innovative you will be, the more strategic you will be, and so on and so on. And that's what all of us need ourselves, and it's what we need in our companies, it's what we need in our governments, it's what we need everywhere. And then the last thing is the pathway. What are some steps that we can take following on from today's session to start building our journey in closing the gap? The first of these is actually to go open source. Now, if you are an individual consumer, ChatGPT is fine. As long as you're careful of things like memory and things like long horizon thinking and the things I mentioned to you today, as long as you're aware of them and you're only a consumer, then ChatGPT is fine. But if you're a government or if you're enterprise, you must be taking the open source route. Number one, to avoid vendor lock-in. Because at the moment, OpenAI makes a decision where it wants to go, and if you're using ChatGPT or OpenAI as products, you are stuck with their journey, whatever that is, and they are not building this for you. They are building it with their own objectives. Their vision is to become the operating system of the future. It's a bit deep, too deep to go into now. So the tool that I have been using, and unfortunately we didn't actually get a chance, we didn't get a chance to do a very interesting demo. I think, all right, I'm going to rush through these steps and I'm going to jump back to the demo, so at least we get that opportunity. The second thing is encouraging conversations. You know, when you have children and they make a mess in their room and you tell them to tidy their room, what do they, I mean, I don't know about Moldova actually, what do Moldovan children do when you tell them to tidy their room? I can tell you what British children do. They don't, no. British children, what they'll do is they'll put everything under the bed like this. And they'll cover it. And they'll say the room's tidy. And that's pretty much what we're doing with AI at the moment, is that this is happening. We should be talking about it. Our employees, our workers, they've got things on their minds. We should be talking about it. And they will be difficult conversations, but the difficult conversations have to be had. If they don't, the technology will keep on growing and the gap will keep on getting bigger. And then the third thing is, believe it or not, increasing enthusiasm. The biggest driver for AI adoption in the world is enthusiasm towards AI. Now we start to enter into a kind of psychological, psycho-behavioral domain, which is, how enthusiastic is this person about AI? Because if they're not, all the other initiatives that we try to do to get them on board are going to fail. Because the person is fundamentally unenthusiastic about it. So we have, from the assessments that we do, we have one assessment which is the AI Enthusiasm Index, and I'll give you guys a link shortly so that you can take it yourselves. And for people who score low in that, we can then go deeper, which is what is causing them to be so unenthusiastic. Is it fear of the future? Is it fear of their jobs? Is it some traumatic experience they had in the past with AI? What are these unseen blockers that is blocking them from being excited about AI so that we can address the root causes? So if you can grab this QR code, you'll notice at the bottom of my business card, there is a link to Enthusiasm Index. So grab this, you'll get my LinkedIn, you'll get my contact details, and I will be with you, of course, for these 2 days. I would love to connect with you, I'd love to chat with you, I'd love to hear about your use cases, I'd love to explore with you and so on. But at the bottom here, Enthusiasm, it will take you just 5 minutes to see where you are on this score. Now, this is most magically done, of course, when you're doing it with employees, because you can look at your whole team, and then you can go deeper to deal with those, all right? Now, I wanted to show you some very interesting demos, but unfortunately I've run out of time. I'm waiting for somebody to say, no, take 5 more minutes, take 5 more minutes. Is there anybody that has the authority?
Take 5 more minutes.
Take 5 more minutes, all right, fantastic. So I prepared some demos before today, which was the one that we saw earlier on, where we told AI that I only have €1 and we need to multiply it. I'd like to show you that that type of use case is not a bad use case. The problem is when we have given the task over to the AI and we have not been part of the journey. So we're going to say here, increasing 1 euro into 1,000 euros. And if you look at what I said to it at the top, I'd like to tell you a personal goal of mine. Thereafter, I want you to list out all the actions I can do today that will help me get closer to it. And I want a single list with no categories. You don't have to worry about that. Let's submit. All right. Now, you can see that it's starting to give me a whole load of options, which means that I am still part of the journey. I can still look at all of these things and see which ones resonate with me, which ones I care about, which ones I might consider. Now, we can take it another step forward, which is something I use all the time, so it's pre-written. But in a nutshell, what it says is, come up with criteria to objectively evaluate each option, and then compare each one according to those criteria. So I'm just going to submit it and go. So the 5 criteria it came with was, how much can the action contribute to the goal? How much can that, in the short run, how much can it contribute to the goal in the long run? How much risk is associated with that activity? How easy is it to do that activity? And how much can that activity teach me about investing? And if we go down to the bottom, we can see that it has been evaluating. Unfortunately, it's only done it for 5 of the items. If we had more time, I would have been able to fix it. But at the bottom, it says here, research online investment platforms and options. So unfortunately, because it didn't evaluate all 20, this is the best of those 5. And that's just a small adjustment, which I would need to make manually. But that's okay, because it's augmenting my intelligence. We should not be looking at AI as a replacement for us, that we just press a button and the genie comes out of the lamp and gives us our wish. That is setting us up for failure, and it's also setting us up for situations where we have to trust the AI more than needed. The last demo, I had 3 demos for you, but I'll just go with one. This topic of, should we say, let's go with Gulf penetration, because I live in Dubai, so we can talk here. So I'm ready to assist you. You mentioned you work with a Eurasian government. Which one would you like to share, and how can I help you today? Now, has anybody noticed in this conversation that the top of the conversation says hi, but it said you mentioned you work for Eurasian government? Isn't that a bit weird? The reason for that is that behind the scenes, in preparation for working with you in these 2 days, my team and I put together a model that would act as an advisor on building digital economy. And this model is 100% based on Strategist. So we got to understand Strategist, and we said, okay, if we build this model, what kind of values can it come up with? So if we go back to here, and we say Gulf penetration. So I was at a speech today. In fact, let me just switch over to audio. I was at a speech today, and I was being told that there would be a lot of benefit for us if we were to take the Arabian Gulf countries and start focusing on them as being one of our primary customer audiences. What are your thoughts on that? Now, the reason why I say to it, what are your thoughts, is because I'm not looking for answers. I myself, I want my thoughts to be expanded. Oh no, why did that happen? Oh, that's a big shame. I feel like crying now. Okay. I'm being told that expanding our target markets for IT sector to include the Arabian Gulf. What are your thoughts on that? So now it starts to go deeper and deeper into the topic. And concerns, he said, what specific concerns do you have? I wasn't thinking about concerns. Concerns, and now the thought process continues. And like this, just imagine in your company, everybody having a thinking partner. Imagine in your government, everybody having a strategy partner, a planning partner, a research partner, an assistant partner. you would literally be doubling or tripling your workforce, your productivity, your efficiency, your effectiveness, without doubling or tripling your payroll. So to summarize our presentation today, and to reinforce the message, it is of the paramount importance for all of us to mind the gap between where AI has reached and where it is reaching, and our ability to collaborate with it. Number one, to maximize our impact as human beings, and number two, to maximize our ability to trust it. And the time is now. Thank you very much.